All right, friends. As prefaced on episode 50 of the Spicer Speaking podcast, a super double dip of guests today. Enjoy that previous chat with Jason Scott Deegan of NBC's Golf Pass. And now a really super segue to a young woman comes to us by way of Stockholm, Sweden, although long of Southern California, standout at UCLA, been a touring professional now in her sixth season, has also prefaced, she'll be my boss for the week to be, as I will be caddying for Louise Ridderstrom at this week's IOA Championship on the Epson Tour up at Tukwet Canyon at Morongo, and had the pleasure of doing an article on the experience for the SCGA's 4 magazine. You can check that out come summertime. Welcome to the program, Louise Ridderstrom. Louise, before we get into my duties in the golf, and I take a lot of pride in grammar and syntax and punctuation. When I type up your name in this article eventually, how do I get the umlaut? How can I find that umlauts on the keyboard?
That's a good question. I think you'll have to buy a Swedish keyboard to get the, as we pronounce it,
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. No, I
But,
don't.
I'm
Well, I don't
happy
want to
to be on
scare
the
you off.
podcast, and thank you for having me.
Okay. I don't want to scare you off on my Swedish, and we could talk about this over the course of the week. I did have opportunity while in college, although that's been some time, to study abroad in Sweden and in Växjö, Sweden. I'm probably
Oh.
butchering the name of that city. But I did fail it's the only class I've ever failed at any level. I did fail my Swedish language class. So I hope that doesn't scare you off.
No, not at all. Wow, you actually went to Sweden and studied there.
I did. I mean, kind of studied, I was like 21 or 22 years old and was kind of having the time of my life. But that city or that town, it was a small place. I don't know if you ever traveled to Växjö, but it was just a lovely little place.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Stockholm, the capital, myself, but I have been to Växjö, the town that you spent some time in, and it's great. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad you got to experience some of it, and I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. And again, we'll have opportunity to chat about that in person in days ahead. I'll also have opportunity for me to carry your bag at the upcoming IOA Championship. So I'll just throw it out there. Don't think me, blunt or anything, but what do you want from me? What can I do to you? How can I be a good service to you? How can I be a good caddy for you this week, Louise?
Yeah, no, to me, since this is our first time working together, I just feel like I sometimes need just somebody to get me a little distracted talking about anything else but golf sometimes out there. I mean, a golf round on a professional level is about 4.5 to 5.5 hours. So it can get a little too much sometimes, I guess. But no, what you can do is, just carry my bag, keep me company out there, and maybe help me with a little bit of math sometimes.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. It's a strong segue. I have had opportunity over the years to play that golf course, actually probably 5 or 6 times. I did go back up there yesterday, and as those that are checking this out on the YouTube channel can now visually reference, I did get a yardage book, and I did actually make a fair amount of notes yesterday. Now, I'm not that good at math either, but having some familiarity with the course, going back around to play it again, studying the yardages. I mean, do you want me to say stuff, or you want me just to like shut up until you ask me a question? It's your show.
Well, I didn't know that you have played the course before. That's great. I have played this course many times before, actually. So I feel like I have a pretty good idea of where I want to aim off the tee, where I'm probably gonna end up on the fairway or want to end up on the fairway, and the potential pin placements that we will see on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I feel like you can never learn too much. So there, even though I play this had a different experience than myself, of course. I guess that's more what I meant with when I said helping me with the math. I meant more like just help me strategy wise. Maybe like knowing that when the pin is tucked long in the left corner, that being left of it is a terrible place to be. And I much rather want to be maybe short right of the green, because I'm more likely to walk away with my par, or even hopefully birdie. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'd like to see. And if you can help with that, that would be excellent.
Okay, that's good to know. How heavy is your bag? Do you have like a big bag, or do you have like more of a Sunday stand kind of bag?
Well, I was 3 years on the LPGA tour, and then I had my tour bag. However, I am currently just having a normal stand bag, and I try to make it as light as possible. Because I didn't know that you were willing to be on my bag until very recently. And, I want to take good care of my caddy too. You shouldn't have to carry a bunch of unnecessary stuff that we don't need on the golf course. Let alone, I'm kind of checking with myself saying like, would I want to carry all this stuff on the golf course? And if the answer is no, then no, I'll take it out. But yeah, no, you won't be carrying a tour bag this week. I only have a normal stand bag, and I'll try to make it as light as possible.
Okay. Well, I don't want you to expend too much energy worrying about little old me. I'll be fine. My cardiovascular might not be tip top, but brute strength, or being your mule, I mean, I'll be fine. So put in there, I don't want you to omit any necessaries from the bag.
No. I'll definitely keep the necessities in there, but I feel like during the practice round days, there's a lot of stuff, like maybe practice tools that are kind of heavy, that you want to have during the practice days. But obviously you can't use any practice tools while you're playing in a tournament. That will be harshly penalized. So, I'll take that out because I won't need it, and also not put myself in a position where I might accidentally pull out a alignment stick or anything like that. No, I will keep the necessities for sure, but I'll take out the stuff that we really don't need out there.
Okay. How are we fixed for snacks as a team? Do we need snacks? Do you need snacks?
Oh yeah, no, that's something that I'm really working on too, that I try to eat more on the golf course. I feel like sometimes you are getting competitive out there, and you almost forget about hydrating and fueling. And especially like on a course like we're walking this week, it's pretty hilly, it's a tough walk, and if you're going to be ready on Sunday afternoon, you have to make sure you have been doing a consistent job of hydrating and fueling. So yeah, I'll definitely have some snacks, and yeah, I'll have some snacks ready for you too, if you like. Otherwise you can bring your own snacks, but I think it's important for you as a caddy to also hydrate and fuel.
What kind of snacks would you be bringing to share?
Well, what I eat on the golf course are pretty basic. It's bananas, it's nuts. I recently started with some protein shakes.
Okay.
Orgain protein shakes. I buy them at Costco. They're great. Just because they're easy. You know, they're easy to bring with you. They're easy to drink. But sometimes I bring bars too. It kind of just depends. It's almost like I don't have a specific snack that I have to eat because I like food, and there needs to be some variety in there. Can't eat the same lunch or the same dinner or the same breakfast every day. Like that would be quite boring. But yeah.
Let me ask you this one as well. And these are just kind of, these have been rattling around my head, as you can tell. I mean, I'm jumping around a little bit, but apparel. Do we have, what are you wearing? Should we match? Are there are there team colors? Are there sponsor logos, which I should be concerned myself with? Do we want to be like in unison in our appearance, or how should I show up?
Well, I'm sponsored by Jay Lindbergh, so I'm definitely gonna wear my clothes from Jay Lindbergh. I love them. I think they have some really good designs. Um, yeah, like my former caddy told me, like, you'd look very fashionable on the golf course, and I'm like, well, that's thanks to Jay Lindbergh, so that's great. In terms of matching with my caddy, I mean, sure. I mean, I think that could be a good look.
Okay.
Have I coordinated with my caddies in the past? Not really, unless it's like I remember we played an LPGA event, and the event was taking place on 4th of July, and I said, well, even though I'm not American, but I live here and I love to be here and I love this country, we're gonna wear the American flag. So then we coordinated, but other than that, I can't remember a time when I told my caddy, you have to wear this.
Okay. I'm gonna bring some options. I'll bring some
Okay.
options then.
Yeah.
Friends, you're tuning into episode 50 of the Spicer Speaking podcast. Louise Ridderstrom is my guest. Again, she'll be my boss this week, as I'll have the pleasure of being her caddy, serving as her caddy at this weekend's IOA Championship up at Tukwet Canyon at Morongo. That's in Beaumont, California. You should come check it out. Come check us out. See how Louise is climbing up the leaderboard with me as her handy helper. Louise, a little bit more on the golf course. As you prefaced, I think this is now your 4th time playing this event. Um, it's an interesting golf course. Having experience on it, like you have, I might even call it a necessity for a golf course like this, because there are just some, I don't want to say necessarily weird holes, but if you were playing this golf course for the first time, there are some pretty wacky holes. You definitely need to know where to place the ball. Is that how you feel about the Champions course at Tukwet Canyon?
I would certainly agree with that. I mean, I think that's this course definitely have a few holes that you have to play a few times to maybe realize what's the better shot off the tee, or where you really want to place the ball on the green,
Totally.
and all of that, and that takes time. And I am fortunate that, like you said, I played this event 4 times already, and that goes a long way. I mean, the rookies out here who are eager to play and all that, they will probably have to put more effort into their practice rounds to try to really learn this golf course. Again, I'm lucky that I played in this event 4 times, and I've had my fair share of rounds, and I think I have a pretty good idea of how I want to play this golf course, based on my game and how far I hit it, and the shots that I like to play. But yeah, it's definitely some quirky holes out there, but I think I have a pretty good strategy for them.
Okay. Can we discuss that strategy? I mean, I've studied your statistics. I've seen you play golf before. And for those unawares, I mean, Louise, as I said, has been a pro since 2017, played in well over 30 LPGA events, coupled with her Epson Tour experiences and a victory, I should add, over the years. So I got a sense of what your game is like statistically, but just talk me through it a little bit as far as a strategy for this week. What should I come to expect for how you're going to approach this golf course?
Well, the most important stat in terms of scoring is green and regulation. So I'm going to try to really focus on hitting as many greens, hitting as many fairways as I can. I know that I am a pretty good putter. I think my mom mentioned to me yesterday that, hey, you're second on average putting on the Epson Tour right now. And I'm like, oh, well, that's good. I didn't know that. That's great news. It gives me some confidence. But so for me, like during this practice days, I'm probably going to make sure I work on, have a really good strategy off the tee, and before each round, really map out where the pin is going to be so that I have a good idea of where I want to place the ball on the green, and just make sure I hit as many fairways and as many greens as possible. And hopefully I sink some more putts, and we go from there.
I feel like we're already developing something of a team set, a teamwork mind meld, because you on this golf course, finding the fairway, and you could say this about a lot of courses, Louise, but this one in particular, finding the fairway from the tee really is paramount to success. The other thing that you mentioned about these big greens, and it can completely change the complexion of the hole depending on pin placement, because many of these greens have several tiers. So I think that a lot of times, as you just said, finding the fairways and then finding the right level, the right shelf, knowing where the pin is pretty specifically on what level of the green. You really need to have that game plan and have that knowledge to succeed on this golf course, I think.
Yeah, and I think what most people don't know who are not playing professional golf is that we put some good effort into studying the course the day before we play, get the pin placements from the tour the evening of, and just study it and try to figure out a game plan of, okay, because the pin is here, I'm actually going to have to hit this club off the tee because I want to be on this part of the fairway, or so that I have the best chance of hitting this tier or this location of the green. Yeah, like, as a professional golfer, it's not like you just show up the day of and warm up a little bit and see how it goes. Like, I think every girl out here this week is gonna have a pretty clear idea of what they want to do on each hole before they even tee off on the first hole. So yeah.
Let me ask you lastly, Louise, and then readers again will have to check in with 4 Magazine in the summer to read about the experience, and of course next week's Spicer Speaking podcast to find out how we did. Of course, in the interim, I encourage you to go up to Tukwet Canyon at Morongo and Beaumont to check out one day of the IOA Championship and see how Louise is doing. You mentioned that between the two tours, I trust when you were spending more time on the LPGA, which I have no doubt that you'll be spending more time there again. But like in 2019, you played a lot of events. You had a great year. 2021, you played 11 events. That you had a full-time professional caddy working with you on that tour. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Even though in 2021, I had a few different caddies. Actually, finding a good tour caddy that you are connecting with can be hard sometimes. But I liked all my caddies, but in 2020 was a little rough year for me, and I wasn't really sure which events I was gonna play and even get into. And it's hard to find caddies who can commit last minute too. But in 2019, I had, I think, 3 different ones, and they were all great. Yeah, no, I mean, I was very happy with all 3 of them. It's but sometimes the reason why I had 3 different ones was because sometimes you just need a change, or they sorry, my mom was calling me.
No
um
worries. She's calling to give you more stats.
yeah, exactly, right. Perfect. um but yeah, no, but Jesus Christ.
Oh, she's calling again.
Yeah. um but no, I think that's what's making golf a little bit more fun, and it's more like a team sport when you have a caddy too. Can have somebody who is pushing you a little extra. Also somebody who can comfort you when it doesn't go well, because in this game it can be a really brutal, but there are some really, really good highs, and I think that's what everybody is like what they're coming back for. So
Well, as I said at the outset, Louise, certainly my full aim and attention to support you and to be of service to you, and to speak up when you might want me to do so at this weekend's IOA Championship. Thank you for joining the podcast during an active week, to be sure. I look forward to meeting you in person. Look forward to putting together this article, and let's go have some fun out there and a lot of success this week.
yeah, I love to hear it. And thanks for having me, and thanks for being on this podcast. I appreciate it. Yeah, it would be great.
All right. Thanks, Louise.